Ever gone on eBay and seen a quad core for 20 bucks? I know I have, and I also know that they're quite old. Now, in Australia, we have the unfortunate problem of if I want a second-hand, say, i5 2500, not even a K, just a standard 2500, I'm going to be looking at anywhere between 100 and 200 bucks. Now, that's for a motherboard and CPU combo. It's almost impossible for me to get it at that $100. It's usually some lucky guy that bid on it when it was put up on eBay first go. So, in light of all this, I want to introduce the AMD Phenom 9600B. Now, this is a quad-core chip from 2008, so it's quite dated, and it was also playing kind of second fiddle to the Core 2 quads. So, I'm kind of curious. It is a quad-core, so I'm wondering, can this chip run modern, say, 1080p gaming? So let's say Doom, let's say Battlefield 1. Kind of taxing games. Can it be used as a workstation? Can you use it for video editing? Let's find out. Alright guys, let's have a look at some specs. So, obviously we've got the quad core at 2.3 GHz. We won't be overclocking because that's really not a thing you can do with these CPUs. It has 8 GB of DDR2 RAM, AM2 motherboard, and we're going to bring back the GTX 670 graphics card, and it will share the same hard drive that we used in last video with the AMD 5600K. So, and also further than that, we're going to compare it to that 5600K. So, also I might point out I did rerun the tests and found a surprise result with Doom, so it actually ran really well on the 5600K. I have no clue why that benchmark was terrible last time we ran it. Possibly there was an update or a patch or something that resolved whatever issue we were having. So let's glaze over that, let's get into it, and let's have a look at some benchmarks. Alright guys, so Fallout 4 up first. It is 1080p Ultra, and numbers are on the screen. How did it feel? I guess basically overall, to describe the experience, it was you shot at something and then you felt the lag, really. So it was basically not ideal on that CPU, but I do wonder in future if we had have dropped the settings, if it would become playable. Next up is Doom, and in Doom, again, numbers on the screen. Basically, the numbers tell it all in this case. It was buttery smooth. No issues with the CPU on this one. GTA 5 was next, and we were having a look probably a little bit closer to the almost not playable side. Experience was mostly good, but there were a couple of stutters occasionally when you were in heavy traffic with the car. But overall, I consider it pretty playable. Again, this is at normal settings, 1080p, so not the most demanding settings. Next up was F1 2015, and numbers tell the entire story on this one again. It was just not awesome, basically lag all around, and at that resolution with everything maxed, it's just not going to happen on F1 2015. Battlefield 1, mixed bag with this one. I would say overall it was playable if you can live with a little bit of lag, I guess. It had its moments where it just completely lagged out, but you know, that's what can be expected of a CPU that's nearing 10 years of age at this point. So Valley, basically Valley was it was an interesting experience. It really highlighted the weaknesses of the CPU again, especially being GPU bound. We found that the CPU again held it back and kind of limited the scores, as can be seen. Moving to Cinebench. Now this guy again tells the CPU weaknesses of both CPUs we tested. So both these scores are actually quite abysmal. You should be looking at about a 4 or a 500 for a modern sort of i-Series 3 or 5. Then finally we had Ryzen. Now this is kind of where it really threw me, and I'm starting to question the validity of this benchmark. So no matter how many times I did it, that 5600K nailed that 447 mark. It would only differ by a second each way most of the time. And same with the Phenom, it nailed that 444. It consistently hit it. It wasn't a fluke, it wasn't a miracle. That's what happened. So I have no idea what's going on there, guys, and I guess I'll look at that benchmark in future. Alright guys, so conclusion, how did it do? Well, it did alright actually, I think. It struggled and probably wouldn't pass the 1080p gaming test, I'd say. But as a workstation, as a video rendering tool, just kind of as a CPU to do things that are not gaming, it was pretty good, all things considered. So Can I recommend this CPU over other things? Yes and no. I mean, it depends on the price. If the thing is going, if you can get a main board with that CPU and say 4GB of RAM for $50 or less, sure, go for it. It'll be a good deal. But anything over that, and you're starting to really wanting to move to say a Core 2 Quad or maybe an early i series if you can get it at that price. But all in all, guys, it's not beyond its years completely yet, so why not buy one and see what you can do for yourself. So thanks for watching, guys. Like this one if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, and leave a comment down the bottom if you're curious about any tests I should run on it, or any future videos I should do on it, or any criticisms or whatever it may be. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next